What is imagination?
Imagination is creativity. It is the power of the mind. Either the left or the right brain. I'm not sure. I think we definitely do adapt from our environment, but we also have the ability to invent. There's so many inventors, people who created things or invented things that did not exist before. Like if you think about the light bulb, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, or Alexander Bell invented the telephone, or the evolution of computers and the power to develop all the different things that we need in order to make our surrounding or our lives more efficient. Art is creation. Music. So many things that definitely do use our creativity and our imagination to develop something brand new.
Okay. What is imagination?
Oh, it's crap.
Huh?
Imagination is creativity, like when you can, your imagination is what you can imagine.
It's where like you can make things up in your head, and like when like you can picture yourself doing something.
Something you think.
Imagination is a concept that's contrived. There is no such thing as imagination because we're exposed to the world around us, to the ideas of our parents, teachers, friends. That is what feeds our so-called imagination, which is actually just an objective reality.
Imagination is a little TV inside your head.
Where does imagination come from?
Your brain.
Imagination comes from within yourself. When the power of thought is greater than what can actually perceive as reality, and it wants to make something else that you know it's not true or real, but you make it real. Whether it be writing, or drawing, or just thinking about it.
It comes from, imagination comes from, I think your experiences, like the more you experience, the more you can imagine, because the more you know. Or at the same time, it could come from lack of experience. Because when you think about it, like, aren't children so imaginative because they're so, like, they don't know that much about the world, and then you see, like, old grumpy people?
What are the possible differences between natural creativity and drug-stemmed creativity? If there are differences.
I personally wouldn't know about such matters personally, but one could hypothesize that drugs would elevate, take to a further extreme the natural creativity of a person. So for example, if someone might be sort of a monotone singer, like so, drugs might take that monotone to a whole new level. Ha!
One might hypothesize, as my sister said, that it would bring you to a different dimension than you're usually used to being in. Now, that doesn't go to say that you need drugs in order to get to that other dimension. I think the power of the mind is, our minds are so powerful, so I think that there's many different things that could bring you to an elevated state of creativity. Traveling can do that. Culture, learning about other people's lifestyle that is different than our own. Experiencing things that we've never experienced before.
The difference is that you have to be a lot stronger, like minded and a lot. You have to be able to open yourself up more to be able to be creative without using a substance. I think a lot of the times people look to substances, to narcotics and stuff as an outlet to make their mind go free because they can't do it on their own.
The drug stem is more of there and then, and it gives you a different sense of creativity. Like if you're hallucinating, you might use that and draw it or whatever you're seeing. And you wouldn't normally picture that when you were sober because you would not have the experience and not know what to think about it, or wouldn't know what it was. That's also debatable because when you're hallucinating, you're going off what you already know, because your mind can't produce random images unless you already know what it is.
If each drug strikes different creativity or imagination in the person,
because you can be hallucinating and that is also imagination, but it's forced by drugs. It's not actual. It's not creative.
Right. So it doesn't necessarily strengthen. It just sticks.
All these things release chemicals in our bodies that can push us to a different level of creativity.
The certain type of drugs don't affect your creativity at all, and some just affect it so greatly that your creativity is like a mind on its own, and your creativity projects itself in your life and in what you see, other than inside your head. And that would more likely be with harder drugs, such as marijuana. Marijuana is iffy, such as mushrooms, cocaine, acid, LSD, all that stuff.
Do you believe you can do anything to put your mind to it?
No. You can't fly. Yeah.
If it's within reason, saying you can fly and then trying to make yourself fly without actually, aside from flying a plane, has to be within reason. And if it's something that you really want in life, if you set a goal for yourself and you really want it, you can do it. And if you do everything you can to achieve that goal, then it's very possible to do anything you set your mind to.
No, I think this is an absolute cliche. I think there are actual limitations. One would be wise, however, to believe these hearsays that the world tells them, just to allow themselves to really feel that there is no boundary. But certainly, gravity, I believe that wouldn't fall, but it fell.
Yeah.
Not anything. A lot, but not anything.
If it's humanly possible, then yes.
I think if you're truly dedicated enough, you will go to any extent to do what you want to do, whether that be cheat, steal, lie your way to a win.
There's things that I thought were dreams before that became my reality. So work hard for what you want.
If you really wanted to jump up and jump as high as the space and you really believe you could, you probably couldn't do that. But I think anything I think if you want to get something done, if you want to achieve something in life, if you want to be successful, I think anybody that wants to, that has the motivation, can.
Yes. If you put your mind to something, you can achieve whatever you want. If you have thought power to perceive something that you want, then anything can happen.
Anything?
Anything. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it.
I believe that imagination comes from experiences in your childhood or earlier on in your life. The more you learn then, the more you'll remember. If something happened today, I might not remember it as easily as something that happened to me when I was 2 years old or something, because it wouldn't have affected me as greatly. And you remember it, and then with more experiences, you begin to apply experiences to other experiences, even if they wouldn't be applied together in real life. And that's imagination. You can imagine skydiving, and you can imagine eating a cake, but if you're eating a cake while skydiving, that's not usually put together, but putting together experiences is what we imagine, and that's what we create. Also, I think that creativity and all that, as you grow older, you begin to fear failure more, and I think fear of failure is what takes away from creativity, because, like, when you're thinking skydiving and eating cake, like, that's crazy. That's just, like, ditch the idea, but it's actually, like, it can be seen as a good idea, you know, by others, and it's not necessarily failure. It's creative, and that's, like, what creativity is. I think when you're impaired, like, on any kind of drug, your mind will react to certain things differently than it normally would sober. Like, you may look at the sun and then, or the moon, I guess, and say, like, wow, it's incredible. Like, you may like go on and on about it when you're high or something, and when you're sober, it's just like, oh, it's just the moon, you know. And like, things affect you differently, and so you remember them differently, and so you apply your experiences differently to each other, and so the creativity it's not like a more creative creativity, but it's a different kind of creativity. It's different, like, more like, harder to imagine, but still, like, not like, oh my goodness, you know. I do believe that if you can do anything if you put your mind to it, anything you want. Lots of people use the example of flying. I think if you really believed that you could fly, you could. But, like, when you think about it, like, if you try so hard to fly, if you were to start flying, you'd say, oh my God, I'm flying. You'd be surprised. You have to put yourself in a state of mind where it is what you think is possible and you think it's normal. And when you start, if you start flying, you know, you wouldn't be surprised you're flying. You know, you have to really believe that it's gonna happen, and not be like, when you turn your car, if it doesn't turn, it's unexpected. But if you turn your car, you're expecting it to turn. You know, if you try to fly, you should expect yourself to fly. You should be surprised by it. And yeah.